The Man in the Yellow Hoodie. I've never had vivid dreams. I'm more of the type that crashes after a long day, wakes up groggy, and doesn't remember a thing. That changed last year. Not all at once, but slowly, disturbingly. What started as a recurring dream became something I could no longer ignore, something that followed me back into real life. It started during a stressful time. I had just moved back home to help take care of my dad after his stroke. We weren't close, and coming back to that small town after so many years felt like regressing. I stayed in my old room, which hadn't changed much since high school. Same worn carpet, same desk by the window, same strange creaking sound when you opened the closet. The first dream came a few days after I moved in. In it, I was back in my house, but everything was darker, somehow older, like the house had aged along with me, but faster. I remember walking into the hallway and seeing a figure standing just outside my door, a man, average build, not moving, wearing a bright yellow hoodie. The hood was up, his head tilted slightly, like he was trying to listen through the door. I never saw his face. He just stood there. And then I'd wake up. The dream repeated itself the next night. Same setting, same yellow hoodie. But this time, he was closer, his ear nearly pressed to the door. I still couldn't see his face, but I remember feeling anxious, like if I opened the door, something terrible would happen. By the third night, he was inside the room, standing at the foot of the bed. I didn't move. I couldn't. He didn't do anything, didn't say a word, just stood there, watching me, or listening. When I told my mom, she brushed it off. "You're just stressed," she said. "Too much going on in your head." Maybe she was right, but that didn't explain how real it felt. Not just the dreams, the feeling when I woke up, that something was wrong. I started noticing small things around the house. My bedroom door cracked open when I knew I'd closed it. Items on my desk slightly moved. One morning, I woke up to find my closet door open, and I never leave it open. These things could be explained. I knew that. Maybe I bumped it. Maybe I left it open without realizing. But when you're waking up drenched in sweat after seeing the same figure night after night, those small things start to mean more. I became obsessed with tracking my sleep. I downloaded apps, set up my phone to record during the night, even started writing down what I remembered each morning. The dreams got more intense, more detailed. In one, I walked into the kitchen and found muddy footprints on the tile. In another, I opened the front door and saw the man in the yellow hoodie standing at the end of the driveway. Always silent, always watching. Still no face, just darkness under the hood, like my mind refused to draw it in. Then came the worst one. In the dream, I was lying in bed. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, like sleep paralysis. And I watched as the door slowly opened. The man walked in, his movements slow, deliberate. He stood beside me for what felt like hours. Then he leaned down, and though I couldn't see his face, I felt his breath near my ear. I didn't hear words, just this awful static-like sound, like a whisper being scrambled. Then he lifted his hand and placed it on my chest, and I woke up gasping for air. My shirt soaked in sweat, my chest sore. When I ran to the mirror, there was a faint red mark, like a bruise where his hand had been in the dream. That was the first time I truly panicked. I didn't sleep the next night, or the next. I drank coffee, paced the house, kept the lights on. My mom was worried, but I couldn't explain it to her in a way that didn't sound insane. Eventually, sleep caught up to me, and the dream came back. This time, I confronted him. I don't know how. I was lucid, I guess. In the dream, I stood in the hallway and yelled, asking him what he wanted. The man didn't answer. He just started walking. Not toward me, but down the hallway. He turned the corner. I followed. He led me to the basement door. I didn't even know why that scared me. Our basement is just storage. Old furniture, some boxes, nothing special. But in the dream, it felt like going down would be the end of something, or the beginning. He opened the door and stood there, waiting for me to go down first. Then I woke up, and that's when the real part of this story starts. That morning, I was alone. My mom had gone to the grocery store, and I was cleaning up around the house trying to feel normal. I walked past the basement door and felt it. An instinct. A pull. I opened it and stood there for a long time, just staring down into the darkness. The light at the top of the stairs flickered as I turned it on. I walked down slowly. My heart was pounding so hard, it felt like it was in my throat. Everything looked the same. Old couches, Christmas bins, my dad's tools. But then I noticed something I hadn't seen before. The far wall of the basement had a door that shouldn't have been there. It wasn't like in the dream where things felt symbolic or strange. This was real, a real door. Old, wooden, like it had been there for years, but somehow hidden, covered by junk or shelves I never noticed. I stood in front of it, trying to make sense of it. I pulled the handle, locked. Suddenly, I didn't want to know what was behind it. I went back upstairs, heart racing, hands shaking. That night I tried not to sleep, but when I did, the man was back. He didn't move this time, just stood outside the basement door. No sound, no pressure, just waiting. The next day, I confronted my mom. I asked her about the door downstairs. She froze, then told me something I wasn't expecting, something I still haven't wrapped my head around. Before I was born, before we lived in that house, my parents had another child, a boy, my older brother. He died in that house, in the basement. It was ruled accidental. He'd fallen down the stairs, hit his head, and somehow got locked in a back storage area. The paramedics couldn't get there in time. My parents moved shortly after, then returned when my dad got sick and needed care. They never talked about it again. I never knew I had a brother. I asked her what he looked like. She got up, walked to a cabinet, and pulled out a photo album. I opened it. There he was, in a bright yellow hoodie. That was the last night I saw him. No more dreams, no more knocking, just silence. But every now and then, when I walk past the basement door, I feel it again, like someone is listening, waiting.